To veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty, join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Milwaukee Black Talk lives here on 101.7 FM and 1510 AM, W269DL Milwaukee, and WGKB Waukesha, live from American Family Insurance Studios.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests of this program are of their own and not a reflection of Milwaukee Black Media or 101.7 The Truth. Good afternoon, Milwaukee. You're tuned in to The Lunch Break on 101.7 The Truth, where everything is an option on the menu.
And one thing about me, I'm a tough cookie, but I know what I can't do, and I'm not suffering. All right, I fought my whole life. I'm all right.
Excuse me, Cletus. Hoppo, who this man?
Yeah, I wasn't doing it. So I was like, I'm not paying $1,000 to sleep on somebody's couch.
Grab your lunch, hit send on that email, and get ready for the best hour of your day.
My way of thinking is that the parents do all they can, but once the kids leave out that door, whatever have you, they make their own decisions. I don't care if you're 9 or 99, it's still your decision about the situations that you get involved yourself in.
We talking about taxpaying citizens who look into their taxes. Look into this. We talking about elected officials doing backdoor deals, and somehow she still want to blame immigrants. That's what we talking about right now. We following the money, and you still want to blame black people and immigrants and welfare and all of these things for policies and backdoor deals that put poor people in worse position.
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the 3rd Street Market Hall.
Like you said, they want to pad their pockets, but they need a reason to push things through. And I guess the low-hanging fruit is, okay, well, this is a problem, right? Y'all want to fix the problem, and they just hope nobody looks into it like, wait, when did food trucks become an issue?
Here are your hosts, Ray Nitty and Maybe Shannon.
What's up, Milwaukee? It's me, Maybe Shannon, and you are listening to The Lunch Break with Ray, Nitty, and Maybe Shannon on 101.7 The Truth. We got Brother Z holding us down on production and sound. I'm not live from the studio, but Brother Z live from the studio, and we got a very special guest today live from the studio, the American Family.
No, he's going to be on VMX too, actually, Shannon.
Market Hall. And cousins, I hope you came home today because out on our plate, today's menu is a little wild. So we're going to talk about the horses being rounded up from public lands and concerns about where those horses eventually go or come back. We have a beef recall. About 30,000 pounds of beef got pulled because it didn't go through the proper reinspection. We want to talk a little bit about encounters some birds had at the Milwaukee Public Zoo. And we also want to talk about the no playlist. But before then, we are going to get into an interview. Michael Jacobs, politically homeless. If you guys want to call or text our number, it's 833-212-1017. Remember, this is your table too, so we want to hear from you. Make sure you see what's happening live inside of the studio. Head over to YouTube 101.7 The Truth and jump on that live chat with the rest of our cousins. We're here from 12 to 2, so grab your lunch, get comfortable, because we are serving up news, conversation, opinions. Man, let's get it.
Hello.
Hi, Michael.
I can't hear you, Shannon.
Oh, no.
Oh, now I can hear you.
Can you? Okay, good.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if she's doing a whole intro.
Yeah. All right. So thank you for being here with us. It's always good to have you.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, I'm zooming in. I hit the hop tracks on a Lime scooter and I broke my collarbone on Monday.
No.
Dude, they took me out, bro.
What? That's a whole nother conversation to have, the hop track and the lime scooter conversation.
Right outside of the crib, dude. Right outside of the crib, I caught the front wheel and it just took me out. Right in front of MPD, mind you. And they didn't even stop. To be fair, I'm pretty sure they just dude, I busted.
Dude, you hear so much about that happening. Like, it's crazy. But
oh, dude, I went to
so let's get into
this. They were all like, sorry. They were all like, get off those scooters.
It's super dangerous. Yeah. So for the listeners who may be hearing you for the first time, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Politically Homeless, aka Michael Jacobs?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Michael. I am Milwaukee born and raised. I'm 28 years old. I do a lot of things. I am a DJ. I'm very involved in the community. I'm also super interested in politics. I went to school for it. And then recently, with a career change, I do not have a social media embargo anymore. So I took the opportunity to kind of be the change that I wanted to see in the community. And so I focus mainly on local issues in Milwaukee and Wisconsin, generally speaking, just because those are a lot of things that are not necessarily represented, or like a lot of people talk about them, but maybe those issues and those viewpoints on those issues aren't necessarily put in channels that make their way to the powers that be to actually affect change. Food trucks being a prime example. I also cover some national stuff, but I've really kind of found my footing in like Milwaukee and Wisconsin locally, just because of the connections and stuff that I have here. It's a lot easier to affect positive change on a local level. And it's something that you can actually see directly, which is awesome. Because like you can talk about things going on in Washington or whatever, but like at the end of the day, we all live in this city. We all have to deal with this community, whether we like it or not. And so I think it's all of our responsibility to do our best to make sure that we're all contributing in the way that we think is important.
For sure, for sure. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Wisconsin's governor's race, and we're going to recap and, you know, have you do a little political analyzing, right? Before we get into the individual candidates, how would you describe the current political climate in Wisconsin?
I think the current political climate in Wisconsin is very reflective of the current political climate nationally, which is to say a complete disaster. I mean, just look at the name of my profile. I don't think I'm the only person that would consider themselves politically homeless or independent per se. It seems like a lot of people are aligned on issues, and regardless of like who's running, whether it's in like our state or Maine or Kansas or Kentucky or anything like that, for whatever reason, a lot of the candidates don't seem to be super representative of like where the general public agrees. And I think that outside of like dumb culture war, like very specific scenario arguments, I think that most Americans are probably politically aligned more than they have been in the past 20 years currently. It's just because of the echo chambers and like the news organizations, they don't make money if everybody agrees on things. So it is very much up in the air. There's a lot of identity shifting, and there's a lot of kind of case studies going on trying to figure out like, what's actually going to work, what's not going to work, what's popular, what's not popular. A lot of the old status quos that were kind of super safe bets to go by for a very long time aren't so much anymore. And so I think that a lot of like younger people are kind of trying to navigate those waters.
For sure. So what do you believe Wisconsin voters are looking for in their next governor?
In my personal opinion, as it stands right now, I don't know if there's an overwhelming, like, enthusiastic majority for either David Crowley or Tom Tiffany. And those are for very specific reasons. I think that most people in Wisconsin are united against data centers. I think that that's a losing issue nationally, and that's actually shown. So if free ball for any political candidate, if they happen to be listening to this, if you want to get elected and it's a close election, I would not support data centers. I think that that's a pretty easy winning issue. It's like being against banning the food trucks. You know what I mean? You have an over 80% approval rating on stuff like that. I think people are tired of all of our money getting funneled to issues outside of our state and outside of our country. I think that there's a lot of like whether it's infrastructure, look at all the construction stuff going on in Milwaukee and the surrounding state that never seems to be getting worked on. That affects both Republicans and Democrats and independents equally when their commute now takes 35 minutes to get to work instead of 20 minutes to get to work. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of things going on for there. The economy is in the dumps right now. The stock market might not be in the dumps, but the job market is. Inflation is in the dumps. There's a couple reasons for that. So I think just kind of getting back to basics and really focusing on like what the individual voter is seeing on a day-to-day basis. I don't really think that there's a lot of appetite in Wisconsin or the nation at large for things happening outside of our current state and our current environment when the conditions that we're in right now are so like fragile and dire. And I think a lot of people, whether they voice it or not, are really kind of feeling on edge and very uncertain about our future. And having people talk about anything but Wisconsin, I don't think is the best way forward.
For sure, for sure. So did anything surprise you about the results?
David Crowley came out swinging. I will say that. I didn't necessarily underestimate that just because of the types of people. Polling's been unreliable for a while now because the types of people who are willing to answer polls are like people like me who are unusually very politically involved and interested. I think that a lot of people saw what was going, some of like the old tweets and some of the old culture war stuff about Francesca Hong and maybe had like electability concerns. Now, regardless of whether those are true or not, I'm not the best person to kind of comment on that. Yeah. But I know a lot of she seemed to have a lot of ideas, but unlike a lot of big change candidates like Mamdani or El Said, she didn't seem to have a huge track record of being able to actually translate those ideas into policy goals, especially in a state like Wisconsin, where you do have such a Republican stronghold in the state legislature. And so I think a lot of people were worried, and this is just my opinion, I think a lot of people were worried that even if she did get elected, even if they did support her ideas, she wouldn't necessarily be able to actually translate those into actual legislation and change. And then she'd kind of become a de facto lame duck candidate. And so I think a lot of people that might have wanted to have voted for Hong ended up voting for Crowley just because they felt like that was a more safe option in the general election.
Okay. So when we get back, I do want to ask you a few things like what worked and what didn't work for David. Then I want to ask like why you think what your take was on the Sarah Rodriguez campaign and things like that. But that's when we get back from break, where we have Michael Jacobs here, politically homeless, and we're going to get back into it right after these messages.
Don't go anywhere. Game day starts here. The Atrium Sports Lounge, your new headquarters for every touchdown, buzzer beater, home run, and championship moment. Great food, great drinks, great vibes. Located in the heart of Milwaukee's Deer District at 1110 North Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in Milwaukee. Be among the first to experience Milwaukee's newest sports lounge where every game feels like a championship event. Follow on Instagram at Atrium Sports Lounge MKE. The countdown is on. We'll see you soon.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We gotta make moves and make them early. Set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up and stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building your retirement plan at thisispretirement.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
For 75 years, the Muscular Dystrophy Association's voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
For 75 years, we've willed the impossible into existence.
For 75 years, the MDA community has pushed the science,
shifted the narrative,
and established the field of neuromuscular medicine.
And until that day, when this is all a thing of the past,
you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way, improving lives so everyone can thrive. Where more people can gain access to healthcare and nutritious food for their tables. Where more community members can benefit from financial education and get connected to local resources for housing support. And where children are given more chances to reach their full potential. Community is where we find our strength and where we share our hope. United is the way. Visit unitedway.org.
The truth. This is the lunch break with Ray, Nitty, and maybe Shannon. We got Brother Z on production and right now we are doing an interview with politically homeless Michael Jacobs. We're talking about the 2026 Wisconsin governor's race. We're doing a little recap and some political analytics. And before we went on break, we just kind of got into it and we were talking about the results and what surprised us about the results. We also introduced Michael Jacobs, who he is in the community. And the next question I was getting into right before break, I wanted to know what he thought worked and didn't work for David Crowley.
Yeah. So, honestly, I think it was more of, he was probably the least controversial candidate on either side that was polling in double digits, maybe outside of Barnes before he dropped out. One thing that I did I did individual candidate policy breakdowns on each candidate, and I tried to do a good job of like, hey, this is what they're running on. This is their record. Here's some potential controversies. I think I did a pretty good job because every video that I did, I had Republicans calling me a commie. I had Democrats calling me a fascist. Every single video I did, you're like, you're obviously voting for this person, you're glazing them. And I'm like, okay, well, or you hate this person, why didn't you mention this? And so, I mean, there was a lot of people in the race with a lot of, I guess, like kind of controversial pasts. And I think David Crowley, just especially after Sarah Rodriguez dropped out because of her like campaign finance mismanaging, the Democratic establishment wanted to rally around a more traditional candidate. Again, whether that's the right response or not, we will see in November. And I think that he was honestly just kind of a default choice for a lot of people. I don't think that necessarily, like there were definitely some people like Ray, for example, who were super enthusiastic to vote for Crowley. A lot of people that I know that voted for him, they didn't like Hong, and they weren't going to vote for Tiffany. And so they were either not going to vote or they were going to vote for Crowley. That's what my experience was, at least. Like, I mean, he has a pretty decent track record of Milwaukee County executive, especially with how hard things are to get here. He doesn't have a lot of controversies. He's pretty safe. And so I think that, again, with all the uncertainty and everything going forward, I think kind of the safe option was something that people were just comfortable with.
Okay. So what was your take on Sarah Rodriguez's campaign? You spoke a little bit about that just a second ago. Someone, what your take on that was?
So if you're going to be running for governor of a state, especially when there's a lot of money issues in the United States, you need to be very, very careful to make sure that you have your own money managed. That's something that Sarah Rodriguez had a huge issue with her campaign. I believe she kind of misrepresented a couple $100,000 of accounting issues. I mean, even Francesca Hong, she got a huge like dart having the $30,000 in credit card debt that she couldn't pay. And like that gives your opponents real opportunities to be like, hey, dude, if you can't even manage like $30,000 in debt, how are you going to manage like a multi-billion-dollar deficit or surplus? I think Sarah Rodriguez, I don't think she, regardless of her politics, I don't think that she surrounded herself with the right team. And I think that even though she might have had a good campaign early on, this is kind of a testimony that, like, especially in politics, if you don't have the right support structure around you, you can have the best ideas in the world and you can run a good campaign. But if you're not crossing your T's and dotting your I's, it almost doesn't matter. So I think it was more of an organizational failure on her standpoint than anything else. Because, I mean, it got to a point where it was just the amount of money that was mismanaged was too insurmountable, that I think that the majority of the electorate just kind of lost overall faith, because they're looking at this and they're like, dude, you're not even you haven't even won the primary yet, and you already have this huge issue going on. It doesn't instill a lot of confidence.
Not at all. So what strengths and challenges does Tom Tiffany bring to the race?
Okay, so Tom Tiffany, he's a mega candidate. He's endorsed by Donald Trump. Donald Trump is currently polling double digits negatives in 47 of the 50 states, and the 3 states that he's not are Wyoming, Idaho, and West Virginia, which are also some of the least populous states on there. I think everybody can kind of look around and look at what his campaign promises were, and we can see how many of those came true. I'm pretty sure it's none or maybe one. So I think anything mega currently right now kind of has a cancer attached to it. Another big hurdle for him is the vast majority of young people are disfavorable of the Israel lobby. And in Congress, he took over $51,000 from AIPAC. He also voted against the Epstein Files Transparency Act. And I think both of those things, I mean, the Epstein Files, I would hope people would care about. But the AIPAC issue, a lot of people don't even necessarily, you would think, but apparently not. The AIPAC thing is a lot of people don't even necessarily think super positively or negatively about Israel in general. They're just very obviously influencing our government in a way that I don't think is beneficial for the United States. And I think that's more of a litmus test than being like, oh, well, Israel this, Israel that. I think it's more of a litmus test of being like, okay, well, if you get elected, who are you actually going to represent? Are you going to represent these special interests that don't necessarily they're not mission aligned with what the United States wants? And I don't know any young people, me included, like I can't vote for somebody that takes AIPAC money. And most of the people in my age group are the same thing, just because we've seen what happens with that. And so for David Crowley, again, that's kind of the other thing. Now, his data center answer, when he said what separates me and Francesca Hong, and the primary thing he said was data centers, I don't know what he was thinking saying that, to be completely honest. Like, you're just giving a bunch of ammunition, regardless of it, even if you think you have a common sense implementation of that. Like, that's like saying, yeah, dude, I'm pro flock camera. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's going to agree with that. I don't think that that's a winning campaign strategy.
It doesn't sound good right now.
No, it doesn't sound good right now. And so, I mean, it's just the difference between the two right now. I mean, it kind of seems like I'm going to wait for Crowley's campaign to develop a bit more, but it seems like we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, which we find ourselves all too often in these political races. I think that's one of the reasons why Hong almost beat him. She only lost by I think 0.2 or 0.4 points. And if you're looking at the Democratic Socialists of America, DSA, regardless of what you think about them, you can see that they're making some pretty big headway across the country. I don't agree with a lot of their platform, and I honestly don't think there's definitely people that vote for them that are like, yes, I'm a card-carrying socialist and stuff. I don't think the majority of people and I might be wrong, but I don't think the majority of people that are actually pushing these DSA candidates are necessarily socialists or communists themselves. I think they're just so disenfranchised with the current system and the safe options and the capitalist options and the normie options, or whatever you want to call it, that it's kind of like Trump in 2016, where people are just so fed up with the status quo right now that they're willing to take a bet on any potential change candidate, regardless of whether they fully agree with their issues, because people are kind of looking at it and being like, well, what do I have to lose? And I can honestly fully empathize with that.
Right.
I mean, clearly going with the status quo, I don't think many people would agree right now. It's working out.
So what role will Milwaukee play in the general election?
Milwaukee has a huge opportunity to make or break the general election. The vast majority of the voter base are boomers or people over 65. Now, that's generally always been the case because they have the most free time because a lot of them are like retirees and a lot of voting and stuff happens during the day. That's going to entirely depend on how engaged Tiffany or Crowley are able to get young people. Young people can make or break elections, but not if they're not enthusiastic about voting for them. That's one thing that I think Hong did a great job at. She really mobilized the base and she got a lot of grassroots support behind her. We're still ways out from November, but that's not something that I've seen Crowley or Tiffany really do a lot of. And if you're leaving it up to the establishment voter, I really don't know. It's kind of a toss-up right now as to which one's going to win. Whoever is able to energize the voter and energize young people, because that's going to predominantly influence Milwaukee, is probably going to take the cake of the electorate. I don't see either of them doing a lot of work right now to do that. Like, I mean, I think Crowley would be smart to kind of coalesce Francesca Hong as like maybe a campaign advisor or something, or maybe get him to rally for her. Tom Tiffany, I'm going to be completely honest right now. He's so establishment, and with his record right now, I think that the people that are going to vote for him are going to vote for him. I think that unless he comes out with something like maybe a data center moratorium, or like, hey, maybe we need to reconsider flock cameras or something that are like really hot topic issues with the general populace, I don't know how many people he's going to be able to swing across the aisle just because of his prior record. So I think it's kind of up to Crowley to make or break this race for him.
For sure. And before we go on break, how important do you think the Black voter turnout is?
I think it's very important. The Black populace has a very unique aspect in that they are very ride or die. You guys have a fantastic consensus, and that kind of speaks to the level of community that you guys share, that like, hey, you guys can kind of all come to an agreement and you have the capability to make or break elections. And so that's something that, I mean, you can kind of see, especially in any swing state, regardless of whether it's Wisconsin or not, if it's a close election, everybody kind of like panders to or campaigns towards the Black community, because I mean, like, look, I think Obama won with like a 96 percentile. No other demographic breakdown group is capable of kind of organizing to that aspect. So I mean, if you can get the Black vote and you can get them to mobilize and you can get them to really believe in your campaign, I think history's shown that that's a win or lose demographic that you can get. It's just the problem is, like, because of the history of everything that has gone on, they're a lot more skeptical, which I don't blame them. They're a lot more skeptical than the average demographic voter, just because of how many times they've been like hoodwinked and used. But I think that's one of the reasons why when they do agree on a candidate, they really come out in droves.
Well, thank you, Michael. Michael, we'll be right back. It sounds like I called you Michael. His name is Michael Jacobs. This is Jacobs, politically homeless. We will be right back after this break. After these messages, we're going to get into a few more questions. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Don't go anywhere.
Feeding the kids shouldn't turn into a negotiation. That's why Cousin Subs reimagined the kids' meal. Kids get to choose a kid's sub, mac and cheese, or chicken tenders, plus a side, a drink, and dessert. Everything they want, nothing you have to overthink. And while they're covered, so are you, with fresh-made favorites you'll actually want and feel good about. More choices, more smiles. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
Are people around me safe when I vape? Science does not support that belief. Exhaled vape emissions linger in the air, affecting indoor air quality and bystanders in the same space through secondhand exposure. Vaping emissions can also accumulate on clothes, hair, dust, and furniture, leading to exposure risks to bystanders of all ages. And vaping around a pregnant person can lead to serious health impacts on fetal and childhood development. Enough with the puff. Learn more at ul.org/vaping.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Reading aloud to children sharpens their listening skills, expands their vocabularies, and nurtures a lifelong love of reading. That's why Reading is Fundamental, the nation's leading children's literacy nonprofit, offers free monthly read-alouds by popular authors through its Rally to Read program. Visit rallytoread.org to watch the read-alouds and discover exciting reading activities for school and home. Visit rallytoread.org today.
What's up, Milwaukee? You are listening to the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. We have Michael Jacobs on. Politically Homeless is his ad. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe. Right now, we're getting deep into the governor's race recap. All right, 2026 Wisconsin governor's race recap. Let me be specific. So, just before we left, we asked you how important the Black voter turnout will be. And the next question on my list was a disconnect between Milwaukee's political leadership and some of its residents. I know you talked a little bit about that disconnect and how we're really feeling like we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Did you want to get more into that?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think that people at a local leadership level are just far too worried about optics. And again, I mean, I guess ironically, the politics of things than they are about actually representing their constituents. The food trucks is a prime example. People here would rather go after low-hanging fruit and basically just like kind of like farm headlines than actually affect positive change. I think that's because a lot of them have kind of bigger ambitions than necessarily Milwaukee, and so they want to play the game right. I do think that right now is a very unique opportunity. And again, a lot of the things I'm talking about Milwaukee, I think do kind of span out and apply nationally just because of how like upset and disgruntled the vast majority of people are right now. I think that anybody who has genuinely good ideas, but more importantly is just like unapologetically them, and not afraid to take a stand for something that they believe in right now. I think that no amount of focus group testing or like playing it safe politically would be able to kind of counter that. Like people like Cavalier, I mean, hey, he's done some good stuff with the city in terms of roads, but whenever there seems to be big culture issues or maybe like fights at the state fair, fights at Summerfest and stuff like that, he just kind of comes out with a statement. But I'm like, I mean, you don't really seem to visit these communities for anything other than a photo op. You don't seem to be super interested in like what the root cause of these problems are. And if you're not interested in what the root cause of these problems are, at least be interested in like making sure that they don't keep happening. Like, it just feels like we keep electing people in Milwaukee and it doesn't matter who you elect, that like they talk a big game and then the second they get in, they're too afraid to kind of put their foot on the scale. And like your people are elected and people are unelected and have new people go in office, not because they were happy with the track record of the person prior. It's because X, Y, and Z is going on and they don't feel like they're getting somebody who actually takes it as seriously as it impacts their lives.
For sure. So what do you think it'll take to win over an independent or an undecided voter?
Honestly, being a populist, like, and the thing with that is like some people will look at it and be like, oh, well, what if I don't believe in that? What if I don't this? What if I don't that? That's kind of where the line, I guess I'm going to kind of contradict myself here. If you're elected to be someone like governor or someone like a mayor, You're definitely elected for your personality and people's ability, like how well they think you can communicate, what they think your fundamental values are. But you're not elected to be a dictator. You are elected to be representative of your constituency. Unfortunately, that's something that doesn't seem to be really like, they don't really seem to care about much anymore. But if you're like, oh, well, I kind of like data centers, maybe they've supported my campaign or stuff like that. And then you come out and you have like 80% of a population being like, no, absolutely not. Or if you're going to do it, you have to do it this way. I do think it's irresponsible for you as a candidate, and especially as a governor, to throw your constituency to the side in the name of special interest. If like, I feel like winning is honestly as easy as just getting a pulse of society right now and looking at the popular issues. No to flat cameras, no to data centers, no amount of special interest money that they could potentially be giving you would swing as many voters as you saying, you know what, I hear you guys. I hear that you don't want this. I'm going to take this seriously and I'm going to represent you. The amount of word of mouth advertising and stuff that will go through on that is going to completely trample however many hundreds of thousands of dollars any of these special interest groups can do. So just like, go on TikTok, go on Facebook, go on Instagram, go out in your community, ask random people, go to like a Brewer game or a Bucks game and be like, hey, like, what's one thing that's going great in your life right now? And what's two things that you wish could change that somebody like me might be able to do about it? I think there's going to be a lot of overlap and issues and stuff going on. And if you just run a campaign that's for the people and by the people, even if it's just like 40% of that, I think that's going to be the biggest difference with swing voters, because there's not a lot of trust anymore. Nobody really believes anything that anybody says anymore. And so like, you really got to show it, and you got to show that you believe it, or at least show that you're willing to listen. I don't want people dictating from the top. And unfortunately, that's what we've had for a long time.
For sure. What issue do you think will define the race moving forward? I know we talked about a few of them, but which one do you think?
Data centers, and I'm going to be honest, data centers and flat cameras. Data centers, flat cameras are, I mean, I have my issue with them from like a Fourth Amendment standpoint. Data centers are a really, really big issue though, especially just because they're a complete disaster to any community that they go in, whether it's the noise pollution, whether it's the actual pollution, whether it is the electricity issues, as we're already like going into a huge global energy crisis right now. Like, and you're saying that I'm going to have to pay more for electricity just because this data center is getting built and clearing out like 200 acres of farmland next to me, and I got to pay for more, or I'm going to have rolling blackouts just because like some idiot wants to like generate like a banana video on ChatGPT or something. Like the value, it's going to steal all my jobs, by the way, while we're at it. Like the value proposition doesn't really seem to be there for it. And Wisconsin is very uniquely positioned, as you can see with everything that's going on, with how much lakes we have and how much fresh water we have and how much undeveloped land that we have. It's going to be very easy for people in power, if the community doesn't apply pressure to it, for our state to turn into a state like Virginia, where people are seeing 13% increases or 1,300% increases in their energy bills. And they're going from literally like $130, $200 to over $900 a month and becoming unsustainable. Oh, and by the way, I'm old enough to remember when we had to start getting hybrids and electric cars and paper straws and everything because we were so concerned about the environment. And then all of a sudden,
Save the turtles.
They're just like, oh yeah, save the turtles, but like build a data center in their habitat, and it doesn't matter. Like, I'm like, wait a second, what happened to like climate change or global warming? Aren't we having fires every single year? Like, I wasn't able to breathe for a week in Milwaukee, and like we're like, you know what, we need more of that. So like common sense things.
Yeah, we need more.
Yeah, we need more fires every year.
What do you think each side? Do you think each side needs to do a little differently heading into November?
They need to campaign for the people. Like Tom Tiffany, especially, like if you want to get any swing voters, dude, you've got to, I mean, you can't untake the APAC money, but you've got to distance yourself and make some commitments for that. I think he has a huge opportunity, unless Crowley pivots, to become the anti-data center guy. That's something that a lot of Republicans have kind of been pushing. They call him like, what have they been calling him? Like Data Center Crowley or something. But you're giving them free ammo. Yeah, no, it's not a good nickname. He needs, like, each kind of has their own like red line going against them right now. And again, the Tiffany one, the Epstein files is not a good thing. He needs to clarify that. I think moving away from the mega base would be good right now, considering how wildly unpopular they are. We've been seeing in the midterms right now, Trump used to be a golden ticket if you wanted to get elected. It's kind of been the opposite recently. And I think that Tiffany would be wise to realize that if he actually wants to win and get some swing voters. And at the same time, Crowley needs to define who he is as a person and who he's going to be as a candidate. Like, even in my research, I couldn't find a lot of unique things about him, or like things about who he actually is as a person, which is one of the reasons why he is the safe candidate. But people don't want to vote for a safe candidate right now. Like, safe is what got us into the position that we're at right now. We need someone who's willing to fight for us. And if people are able to kind of like define their personality, regardless of what side of the aisle I'm right now, being like, hey, these aren't left or right issues. These are Wisconsin issues, or these are Milwaukee issues, or these are family issues, or these are like cost of living issues. I think that if you look at what people care about right now, people are willing to vote for almost anybody, as long as they're not selling themselves out directly to people who don't have the same interests as us, and are just focused on making everybody's life easier, more affordable, and less miserable.
For sure. So before we go to break, I've got another question. What is your prediction for November? If you feel comfortable letting the people know.
I don't know. I mean, it's, as it stands right now, it's a toss-up. And I think that that's more of a opportunity thing than anything else. Again, I doubt Tiffany's going to listen to what what do I know? You know what I mean? I might be wrong. I doubt Tiffany's going to listen to any of what I have to say about bridging the gap. He might do the data center thing, but that's about it. He's pretty ingrained with his voter base. The people that are going to vote for Tiffany are pretty much just going to vote for Tiffany anyways. I think the ball's really in Crowley's court to really see if he can actually rise to the occasion and become a populist candidate, and really champion issues that average Wisconsin residents are feeling right now. Because as it stands right now, nationally, it's the Democrats' chance to win. Republicans are super disenfranchised right now after the Trump administration winning and then 180ing, I think, more than any president in U.S. history on all of its campaign promises. So I don't think many Republicans are very excited to vote right now, whereas Democrats could get very excited to vote. I mean, look at how many DSA candidates are getting elected or almost getting elected right now. That shows an absolute hunger. And I think that that's a great opportunity for the Democrats to capitalize on populist talking points. Because I mean, I think Tiffany's just going to ride it out. And I think that Tiffany could win if Crowley keeps doing what he's doing right now, to be honest, because I don't see that much different between them in terms of what like they're actually going to do. It's Crowley's race to win if he wants to win it.
For sure.
In my opinion.
Well, thank you, Michael Jacobs. Michael Jacobs, athletically homeless. We will be right back after these. We'll have Michael back. If you guys want to call in, 833-212-1017 is the number to dial. We'll be right back after these messages.
Educators Credit Union is more than a place to manage your money. They're where your financial possibilities take shape. They're more than transactions. They're conversations about your financial goals. More than numbers, they're community advocates who support free, local events that are accessible to all. They foster community because we are stronger together. Educators Credit Union is people helping people. Become a member at ECU.com. Insured by NCUA. Membership eligibility required.
Every child deserves access to an exceptional education and the opportunity to dream big. On Thursday, October 1st, come together with Milwaukee College Prep at Venue 3 at 3rd Street Market Hall for the annual Take a Stand fundraiser. Your support helps more than 2,000 Milwaukee scholars learn, grow, and build brighter futures through access to a high-quality education. Enjoy food, drinks, and inspiring events while making a meaningful difference for Milwaukee's children. Get your tickets or make a donation today at 2026takeastand.givesmart.com.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey. When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age, everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Doctors Without Borders is delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most in communities around the world. From bandaging war-wounded patients in Sudan to providing clean drinking water in Haiti, we're in more than 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care. This life-saving care is made possible by a global movement of supporters like you. Thank you.
One change for the rain. It's pain. On the highway and I'm thinking that I love her. On the highway and I'm thinking there ain't no rubber. On the highway with my significant lover.
What's up, Milwaukee? We are back, and you are listening to The Lunch Break with Ray, Nitty, and Maybe Shannon on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Today, we have a very special politically homeless, a.k.a. Michael Jacobs on, and we've been talking about the governor's race, the Wisconsin governor's race. We got pretty deep into some conversation. You guys are coming in on the end of it. Before we head into something else, because I do have another question for you. You did mention you're a DJ, and there's been a lot of with the DJ scene, the bar scene, and all the things. But before we pivot to that, I did want to ask you, what do you think the voters should be paying closer to now into November? What should our voters be paying attention
to? Number one, affordability. I think affordability is the biggest issue right now. Whether it's inflation, whether it's grocery prices, the cattle ranchers. I don't know if you have seen what's going on with Trump's importing a bunch of Argentinian, Brazilian diseased beef and stuff, and just completely screwing over our cattle ranchers and literally might upend our entire industry right now.
That's literally on my list of things to talk about. I kid you not. I was like, what is happening here?
So that's one of their that's one of his core demographic people, and their industry is getting completely blown up right now. But again, it kind of goes in on the affordability. I think that this is a very politically charged phrase, but it shouldn't be, because it was taken by people that I don't think actually believe in it. I think that America first should be focused on it. I don't think we should be meddling with other countries right now. I don't think we should be supporting other countries right now. You got to clean your own room before you fix the world. And our room looks like we just got robbed. We have affordability, data centers, flat cameras, groceries, electricity bills, all of these things right now that the average American, I can turn off my TV and ignore culture wars issues. You know what I mean? And I think that's how a lot of people vote. Hey, if I turn off my TV and I don't know who said what, is my life going to be negatively or positively impacted? With a lot of presidencies prior to this, no. This one, yes. there's not going to be a lot that you can do to kind of curb, I guess, what's going on in the White House right now, whether you like it or dislike it. And so looking at what any candidate in Wisconsin is running on and seeing what their plan is to actually help Wisconsinites, and more importantly, the plan of how they're going to help Wisconsinites. Anybody can have ideas, but again, unless you actually have like a cold hard plan where you can actually translate that into positive change, I think people should be very wary of it.
For sure. Okay. Thank you for that. Firstly. But I wanted to get your input on the no Milwaukee music, the no playlist that came out of the garage that the DJs were given. What's your take on? I'm pretty sure you guys have all heard by now that the garage on Brady Street, or a little bit off Brady Street, neither here nor there, they had a no playlist, and it was all Black rappers. It wasn't specific songs, it was rappers, and then at the end in bold it said no Milwaukee rap, and it sparked a bit of a debate. What do you think about that? What's your take on it?
Okay, so full disclosure, I DJ at the garage. I was actually the DJ that list was distributed to that night. Like, I was playing the night that list was distributed to. I was given like a little bit of a notice. I can tell you, I played artists on that list. So it's not necessarily like a no playlist. I think it was more of a vibe. There's a lot. So I have to be careful about what I say, because there's a lot of things that can be said. What I will say is that I can understand 100% why people are frustrated. That being said, I think garage is getting a lot of heat that should be not so focused directly on garage. One of the reasons why garage is one of the only places that I've chosen to play recently is because it's one of the only venues left in Milwaukee where I genuinely had open format and creative control over what I played. Like, I can tell you, the last bar that I played, Rider by Chicken Piat, was at the garage. And that was like 3 weeks ago. Like, I've played, like, I can play anything there. I've played Milwaukee music and stuff there. That's why it was kind of a bit out of left field for me. But I love having the freedom to play whatever I want. I also understand when certain venue owners, depending on the type of vibe they're going to curate, might like something or might dislike something. Now that's up to the patron. Do you want to go there? Do you not want to go there? Do you support stuff like that? It's also up to the DJ, many of those artists that you hear. So I can understand where people are very frustrated. I don't think it's, especially considering like how long they held out, and especially with all of the pressures that MPD puts on them and the bid puts on them and the alderman puts on them, because that does happen behind the scenes, in the same way that they went after the food trucks, even though they have nothing to do with curbing the issues and stuff on those streets. I can promise you that there's conversations with all of those bar owners on the back ends to have like nonsense rules and stuff implemented like this that don't really, like, the only time I've ever had a fight break out and have had the music, I was told to change the music, was 4 years ago at the Harp on a Sunday on the patio at 7 p.m. And I was playing Every Time We Touch by Calibra. Like, one of the whitest songs of all time.
I love that song, actually.
Two groups of people got into fights, and they come up to me like, change the music. And I'm like, bro, to what? Like,
they were like, listen, they just touched the wrong way.
No, this is up there.
Put hands on them.
So, like, unfortunately, this is very common practice for every bar. Again, whether you want to support bars that want to play certain types of music or not after that, that's not my position to play. I will say, as a DJ, I always appreciate the opportunity to have as much creative control over what my set goes. I do think that Milwaukee would be better off if we took this energy and applied it evenly across the entire entertainment district, instead of focusing on hanging one of the very last bars to hold out against all of the political pressure to stop playing that type of music. That's just my opinion. Because I saw it, I'm like, hey, dude, I understand why people are upset. Y'all feel like me 4 years ago when I stopped DJing on Water Street. Like,
right. So I guess one of my questions would be, you did mention that the last time you even saw a fight break out, it was to a song, Every Time We Touch. If you guys don't know, we can put that on the way out. I love that song. But like, so in my opinion, a lot of people that are agreeing with this list, they're like, yeah, because every time they play that music, people are fighting. So would you agree it's not the people on the list that are causing the fights? The music on the list?
No, I mean, I don't think at all it's the types of people on the list that are causing the fights. I think that there's a lot of political pressure outside of the bars to try and curb what we'll say are troublemakers and stuff from coming to them. But as we've discussed, just like with the food trucks, most of the people causing all of the problems on Brady Street, on Water Street, and 3rd Street aren't even going to these bars anyways and are not even necessarily old enough to do it. I will say, I don't think the majority, and I don't know, but I would be very surprised if it were any member of Garage, whether it's employer ownership or anything, on their own to come up with this decision on their own. And it wasn't due to pressure from the city, just as we've seen on Water Street, just as we've seen on 3rd Street. I'll finish with this. I stopped playing at a bar on Water Street 3 years ago in 2023 because they yelled at me for playing Mo Bamba. And they said it was too ghetto. And I'm like, dog, they play this at trampoline parks. They play this at trampoline parks. Like, what do you mean? And so again, yeah, so Bark, 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 it is not just the Garage. And honestly, again, I think the Garage is getting a lot of heat that I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I think they're really at the bottom of that list in terms of not allowing certain types of music.
For sure.
In my experience. But I understand why people are pissed.
Well,
nobody wants to see a list
so
like
much.
that.
For sure. Thank you so much for coming out. We've got Michael Jacobs, Politically Homeless. Please tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, so it's _politically homeless _ on TikTok, on Instagram, and then my name, Michael Jacobs, on Facebook. And I do a lot of Milwaukee issues and Wisconsin issues. I try to be as unbiased as possible. If I have a take, it is clearly identified at the end. Yeah, engage with me. If you like my stuff, cool, share it. If you hate me, boost my engagement, baby. I love when people get into fights in my comment sections. It gets me in front of more people. So love or hate it, come check me out.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back after these messages. Don't go anywhere.
Milwaukee business owners, this is your moment. Every Friday at 8 a.m., call in to 101.7 The Truth for What the Business Is. Tell us what your business is, where you're located, and one thing you've learned along the way. What the Business is powered by We Energies, delivering the energy that powers local business. Fridays at 8 a.m. on 101.7 The Truth. Fridays at 8 a.m. on 101.7 The Truth.
I'm Sherwin Hughes, and I know the power of Stars and Stripes Honor Flight firsthand. As someone who's been on an honor flight, I can tell you it's a day you'll never forget. Stars and Stripes Honor Flight gives our oldest veterans who served in any location in June of 1975 or earlier a free one-day trip to Washington, D.C. for veterans. Airfare, meals, a coach bus tour, and special flight apparel are all included. It's a day of honor, gratitude, and camaraderie. Veterans who served in the Vietnam or Korean War go to flySSHF.org and ask for an application.
In the United States, a vehicle is stolen every 31 seconds, about as long as this message. Luckily, you can take a few easy steps to protect your car in the same amount of time. Remove your valuables, roll up your windows, don't leave your car running unattended, lock your doors, and take your keys or fob. If you have information about a crime, call the police. If you suspect insurance fraud, also call 800-TEL-NICB. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes, rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
Milwaukee Black Talk lives here on 1017 FM and 1510 AM, W269DL Milwaukee, and WGKB Waukesha, live from American Family Insurance Studios.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back.
Oh, yeah, man, how you doing? You good? I know you like that. I know you like that. How long you been back, man?
Hey.
I see the girls in the club, they getting
What's up? What's up? You are listening to 1017 The Truth. If you guys want to call in, the number to dial is 832-122-1017. Hop that. Head over to YouTube. Talk to us. Join our cousins over there on YouTube. Right now, we just ended an interview with Michael Jacobs, politically homeless. It was a really good interview. We talked about the governor's race and what each candidate can do to get ahead. We talked about a lot of things. Make sure you guys check us out. We're on YouTube, so you can rewatch it if you need to. But before we left, we asked Michael Jacobs what he thought of the no playlist. And I wanted to bring that up again just because what he said was actually very true. They are not the only bar to do something like that. And I do that they have a lot of pressures, outside pressures, to play other things, like people attacking places or demographics that actually don't problems, right? And I thought the question that I asked at the end about fights breaking out to those songs is that what he's witnessing, and he said no, because a lot of what I'm seeing on Facebook is people that do agree are like, well, that's probably because every time they play it, they're fighting. So I thought it was a very important question to ask because he does play at the garage and he does play on Water Street and he does play downtown. So that was very important to ask. And I think after my segment about it that wasn't last week. I'm sorry. That was Tuesday. I've had a long week, y'all.
You have. It's been like 2 weeks
I live in Vegas,
basically.
Right? I've had so many weeks. I've lived many lives, y'all. And I think I bring that up because I know people hate when I start talking about Vegas and whatever. They like, you ain't live here. You ain't from Milwaukee. But it's important to have this perspective because I know a bunch of these out here. And it's embarrassing actually for them to hit me up and be like, yo, is this real? They can't believe y'all doing this type of stuff. Like it's actually disheartening, right? So for those of you that don't know, I'm going to circle back. The story we talked about earlier this week traveled far beyond Milwaukee, right? We talked about the garage on Brady Street and that viral no play list, a list telling DJs not to play a long list of hip hop artists featuring Lil Wayne, Future, Glorilla, Travis Scott, Lil Baby, Migos, 2 Chainz. And I know it feels like we're beating a dead horse, pun intended, because we don't talk about them horses they've been gathering up and slaughtering. But that's a different, that's for later. But this list went viral. DJs were reportedly told the restrictions were effective immediately, including remixes, and not following the rules could jeopardize their gigs. The garage later said that the list was created by an employee and wasn't approved by ownership. Ownership said the intention was to reduce music containing references to guns, violence, and create a more relaxed atmosphere. And they admitted that banning an entire art is wrong, or the wrong way to go about it, right? And like I said, people have been hitting Vegas, and I'm talking to friends of mine who are huge DJs out here, and they can't believe that this type of thing is real. They're asking me, so what do people play? They're like, most of these artists are top artists, and me and Zach talked about that.
Literally, that's what I was saying.
We
I'm
said,
like, yeah,
like, these are like, what do you want from us? And that's exactly what they were saying. Like, that's why they thought it was a joke. They thought, like, it's messed up because we literally, like, I think as Milwaukee people, what I'm seeing online, right? And I'm seeing this from the African American community, right? Well, they don't want y'all down there acting a fool. They sick of y'all going to the establishment when they send that. I think Michael literally just said that that's not what's really happening. So that can be dead. And then they're like, "Well, find a different place to go." Okay, fine, but it's bigger than just finding a different place to go. When, like Michael said, there are places on Water Street that do it. I said that. I was saying, do y'all remember a time they would literally like be like, "Don't wear this, this, this," and it's everything that y'all know is popping in the Black community at the time. Whatever y'all could think of that y'all think Black people wear. I said the last time they gonna tell me like no box braids and no lace fronts, and then they gonna be like, "Well, it's not racist. We don't want tumbleweaves around the property, whatever." But I just feel like it's embarrassing to have this conversation about segregation and about how messed up our city is in some ways with people that aren't from there, because it's so like they look at it as like we are behind. They look at it as like ain't no way y'all saying it's top artists in America right now. So I have to say it happened in Milwaukee. And sometimes when we're born and raised somewhere where we get used to these conversations, you start saying, well, like, "Oh yeah, you know how Milwaukee is. Y'all find your own place. We sick of this conversation. Why don't y'all do something else? Just go where y'all want it at." And it becomes normal because this is what we've seen our whole life, right? And people from the other cities, and that's why living in a different place gives me a different perspective. Knowing people from different backgrounds, knowing people that go to these places, knowing people that work at these places, it will give you a different perspective, because a lot of times in our community, we agree with the wrong side because we also have those unconscious biases and we think automatically that we're doing something wrong sometimes. I genuinely do believe that. So we had a caller last week, or I'm sorry, I keep saying last week. It wasn't last week, y'all. It was the other day. Don't blame my heart, blame my head. I'm all over the place. We did have a caller when we were talking about it. He said he used to DJ in Chicago. And I like that call because you could tell he was an older gentleman. He said he used to play the Isley Brothers to slow it down a little bit, but he understood the point that we were making. A good DJ knows how to change the energy without banning an entire culture, essentially. That's the conversation, because I completely understand a business saying the vibe is getting too aggressive, a little too much is going on. We're getting some complaints, right? And we don't want explicit songs. I get it. We don't want music glorifying gun violence all night. That's okay. But that's where the DJ really earns their money. A DJ can read the room, they can transition, they know when you've been in one pocket a little too long and it's time to, switch it up a little bit. You can switch it up because most of those artists have remixes with country singers. They got remixes with all types of, and you telling us we can't play these people? What are we talking about here? So you can change the temperature without announcing Black rappers are the problem. Whether that was the intention or not, that's literally how that list looks. And people think we're beating a dead horse. They think that we're doing too much by being loud about it. But the reason it's gone so viral, we're used to this type of stuff in Milwaukee, y'all. But the rest of the world is looking at us like we lost our mind. They think we're playing. That's how crazy that list looks to anybody else in this world. We're so used to these conversations. We're so used to this type of behavior. And we're so used to just sitting down and be like, you know what, maybe we are the problem. Maybe. But we just heard from a DJ's there. No, I ain't seen no fights there. But there may be other pressures outside of that. I remember somebody telling me a few years ago, I don't know if this is still true, that on Water Street, the only bar to have Hennessy was Truth. You gotta get the Henny. They doing whatever they can to deter, or what they think will deter, African American people from places. And it ain't always us fighting. It ain't always, we talked about that earlier in the week. But we are made to believe we the problem. And if we such the problem, why is it so many of us agree that we don't want to be in environments where people throwing hands and feet all the time? Don't sound like we the problem if most of us agree that we don't want to get knocked over our head with a bottle. I'm just saying. So I just don't understand why that was the solution. If the problem is violent lyrics, they can make a content policy, and we've talked about that. But when we get back, we're going to get deeper into this, all right? Make sure you guys give us a call at 833-212-1017. That's the number to dial. You can text that line as well, but we want to hear from you at 833-212-1017. You can also join our chat. We are at the lunch break on Facebook as well. Make sure you follow us there. We'll be right back after these messages. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on where you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is, my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately, in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakovic, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
'Cause remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We gotta make moves and make them early. Set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up and stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building your retirement plan at thisispretirement.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. Well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules and I hit the ground running. Didn't make sense not to live.
What's up, Milwaukee? You guys are back listening to the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. And I got something on the menu for y'all today. Before we get back into our conversation, are your finances low? Your mindset off track? Are you ready to get into real estate? Tune in to The Journey with Coach Erica every first and third Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon on 101.7 The Truth. It's all about mindset, money, and real estate, helping you take the next step toward building a better future. Man, that was good. Don't forget, y'all. Make sure you guys Watch Coach Erica. Learn something. All right? Man. So we're going to get back into the conversation, yes, again, about the no playlist, no Milwaukee rap, the list that included rappers, some of our top rappers at this time. Okay? We'll get back into that. Because like I said, we just had Michael Jacobs on the show, and we talked about the governor's race. His is politically homeless. And he definitely talked to us about this as well, because he also DJs. And he's DJ'd at the garage. And he said that he has not experienced fights while playing hip-hop artists. And that's important because, like I said, most people on my Instagram and Facebook, they're saying things like, well, they don't want people fighting at their establishment. Anytime you play, we had a caller a few days ago say, especially Big Frank. All I know is Big Frank make dancing music. He gets the kids moving. We start blaming Big Frank. And like I said, I do feel like a lot of times we are very quick to side with people that are blaming us or trying to make us the problem when we're not the problem. I just was talking about how Milwaukee people get so used to these conversations. It's not taboo for us, but me living in Vegas really shines a light on how odd this behavior is. I talked about how the caller called in a few days ago and he said he used to DJ in Chicago and he just changed it up a little bit. And you can control a room as a DJ without saying no Milwaukee rap music, without banning some of the top rappers of our time. The artists, not the records, right? Because we constantly ask, why doesn't Milwaukee music make the music scene and get all this recognition Atlanta gets? And this is why we can't break. We're too divided. Right? Why do talented people feel like they have to leave to blow up? And then we're seeing right now how hard it is to reach across the aisle in Milwaukee as an artist. We can't complain that outsiders don't support Milwaukee artists when establishments in Milwaukee won't even support them. That's backwards. And I do want to be fair. They said, even though it said the list is coming from ownership said, not I. Believe what y'all want. But I also wanted to admit something, y'all. The rave in the Pabst Theater, they got petty. I saw that. They
you
kinda,
saw what they posted?
I loved it. I like when people piggyback off of a moment. They said nothing, just posted some of the rap artists we've supported throughout the years.
Also, the Pabst group, Pabst Theater group, posted something too. They were like, "Oh, here's some of our favorite Milwaukee acts that we've had on our stages." So they got in on the pettiness as well.
I love it, and those are bigger venues. But like Michael said, it might not even, because the garage held out. And I mentioned it in the last episode where we talked about this. A lot of times, downtown, Water Street, it might not be the owners putting the pressure on them, just like what happened with the food truck situation. It could be the powers that be. Because like I said, a lot of those bars on Water Street, I don't know if it's still a thing, but when I was living there, the only one to serve Henny was the only black-owned one, and they barely wanted them to be there. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. A lot of those clubs, they would have really odd rules, very specific to black people. You can't get in here. Don't wear this, don't do that. Just saying. But yeah, I think the bigger conversation here is about what makes a DJ, crowd control without making the crowd feel controlled is an art, right? And I got a question. What point does a business setting the vibe cross the line into discriminating against the culture or the people associated with that music? 833-212-1017. Milwaukee, talk to me. I know the other day you guys had a lot to say. A few people agreed with the rules and the policy, but now that you guys hear that it was actually not us fighting in there, that was the problem. Because I was thinking, okay, well, maybe there was an uptick of violence happening while those songs were playing, but it's been confirmed. No, that ain't it. That ain't it.
I mean, you heard Michael. He said he was playing Every Time We Touch when a fight broke out at the Harp. And like we said the other day, New York was playing Halo by Beyonce in a club once, and a fight broke out. Like, I don't get it.
Those songs might be easy to take those wrong. When they said Every Time We Touch, they probably thought start throwing hands. And Halo, they probably was like, you know what, we gonna send you up there. That's probably what happened. I don't know. But I'll let y'all eat y'all lunch, because I also wanted to get into something else that happened in Milwaukee. I think this was a day or two ago. A kid got into a zoo exhibit, or enclosure, I should say. Right? How did he get inside the zoo enclosure? There's a video circulating of a 13-year-old boy inside of the African Savannah exhibit at the Milwaukee County Zoo. He's running around near southern ground hornbills, holding a stick and chasing the birds. All right. I want to be careful here, because online they said he was beating the birds and all this and that, because that also has gone viral. Milwaukee been really going viral lately, y'all. We all over the place. Y'all got me doing a lot of explaining out here. They like, this really happened? I'm like, you know, I can only be a representative so much. Okay. They said he was beating the birds, but the reports confirmed that he was chasing them with a stick. Thankfully, no animals and no people were injured. The entire incident reportedly lasted only a few minutes, but there are 2 or 3 minutes inside of an animal habitat, right? And that can become dangerous really, really quickly inside of an animal habitat. And then you got some animals too that they like, if you scare them, they will die. So that's super, like, yeah, he probably wasn't beating them, but he was chasing them. He was causing them distress. He was stressing them birds out. They was running for their lives. Okay? And that could become dangerous for him as well. What if them birds would have turned around and attacked him? Now they want to look, we've seen how that goes. They want to put the bird down. Well, we got to put him down.
R.I.P. Harambe. R.I.P. Harambe.
Man, rest in peace, Harambe.
D's out for Harambe.
Come on. Y'all see how that happens. But then we learn about a much bigger story, right? The family spoke out, and the boy's father said that his son is severely autistic. He has ADHD and epilepsy. I got ADHD. My sister got epilepsy. I don't think that got nothing to do with why he was. You know what? Let's keep this going. His father says animals are one of his son's biggest interests, and that the Milwaukee County Zoo.
Jump in the thing.
Come on, man. With a stick? What are you interested? You know what? Let me just keep going. And the Milwaukee County Zoo may actually be his favorite place. The family reportedly has annual passes, and they visit many times. And they've gone there many times without any of these things happening. That day, he was with his grandmother and a caregiver while his parents were working. According to his father, everything had been just fine until near the end of that visit, when his son suddenly broke away. And his grandmother we're playing the video right now, and you can actually hear the grandmother, I think, saying, oh, he's autistic. Oh, let him run. He'll run himself out. They ended up getting him with help of the zoo, visitors, and security. Again, nobody was injured. But I guess This is crazy. I'm sorry. I'm re-looking at the video too, and it's actually wild. Like it's 2 minutes they try to make it seem like 2 minutes is like not a lot of time, but do you know how long 2 or 3 minutes actually is?
I mean, our commercial breaks are 3 minutes.
That's a long time. This is insane. Those animals deserve protection too, and autism does not mean we pretend like that situation was not extremely dangerous, y'all. But once you learn he has autism and, he eloped, ran away from his caregivers,
Then I blame them. I don't blame him. I put the blame on them for taking their eyes off an autistic kid that loves animals and loves birds and loves the zoo so much and is at the height where he can jump off and get away. Like this is crazy.
It's insane to me.
Because wasn't the baby that got in the Harambe enclosure even smaller than this kid? So
yep.
I just don't I mean, whatever.
How is this happening?
Just put
how is this consistently happening?
Don't they still have like leashes for at the zoo? Like, or was that just me? Was I the only kid that had to get put on a leash, like a leash backpack?
You are not the only one. Listen, stop playing with me.
Now that I think about it, I think it was a monkey backpack.
And listen, they make it look like something else, like a backpack, and it got a leash attached. They got the
little
arm
animal
ones. You
on
got
it.
options.
So it's just
I don't
like,
care if
what
you're
are
a
we
teenager.
doing?
Strap him into a stroller.
That too.
They got bigger strollers for. Do what you gotta do to protect your child,
especially if he's special needs.
Man, that could have ended out like so bad, bro.
Imagine if it wasn't a bird
history of eloping. He's a teenager, so I believe that history may have developed far before this incident. It had to. Okay. And I will say, yes, autism is a spectrum. So, different impulse controls, different level of independence or ability to understand danger, all that, right?
True.
But like I said, when you have a child that has special needs, you have a very special job now. Okay? And honestly, I don't understand how he got into, how did he get in there? It takes a little time to get over there. Y'all know that, right? So 3 minutes inside the cage. How long did it take him to climb it? I know he ain't got Jordan hops. His legs don't look that strong. He didn't just clear the fence. Come on, man.
And if he dropped, that's a far drop.
That's a
look how high up that is. Climbing over and then jumping down from that cement.
Crazy. And then where'd he get a stick? Look at him. Come here, little turkey.
Probably from in there. I mean, there's a tree right there. Probably picked it from up under the tree.
Insane. And like I said, I do think it's an adult's responsibility for him to have been safe, and they should have watched him far more closely. I do understand that he's autistic. I do, and I understand his love of animals. But like we just said, has he attempted this before? Has he run away before? Has he shown these behaviors that he'll get fixated on an animal and go after him? I'm pretty sure if he's in there chasing him with a stick and he has this love for animals, this is crazy. And there should be special accommodations for kids that are eloping. I don't know. I think a lot of people are too embarrassed to put their kid on a backpack, put their kid on a leash, put their kid in a stroller. I'll do it. If it means my child's safety, I don't care how y'all looking at me. I'm going to put my baby in a stroller, a leash, a headlock. I don't care. You coming with me, boo. Come on now. So, where do you draw the line between giving a child independence and taking additional safety precautions? Would y'all use a stroller, a harness, or a wrist tether for y'all kids if y'all knew that they were a flight risk? Call us. Talk to us. We'll be back after these messages. 833-212-1017. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get back into this after we get back.
There's a little time left in the summer, and there's still so much to get involved in as we end the summer safe. Milwaukee youth ages 12 to 18 can tap into free safe summer sites, activities, food, music, sports, creative experiences, and free youth events happening all across the city. There's something to do, somewhere to go, and something new happening every week. Visit tapinmke.com to see what's happening near you. That's tapinmke.com. Milwaukee, let's end the summer safe and start the school year right.
For 75 years, the Muscular Dystrophy Association's voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
For 75 years, we've willed the impossible into existence.
For 75 years, the MDA community has pushed the science,
shifted the narrative, and established the field of neuromuscular medicine.
And until that day when this is all a thing of the past,
you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. Improving lives so everyone can thrive. Where more people can gain access to health care and nutritious food for their tables. Where more community members can benefit from financial education and get connected to local resources for housing support. And where children are given more chances to reach their full potential. Community is where we find our strength and where we share our hope. United is the way. Visit unitedway.org.
Are people around me safe when I vape? Science does not support that belief. Exhaled vape emissions linger in the air, affecting indoor air quality and bystanders in the same space through secondhand exposure. Vaping emissions can also accumulate on clothes, hair, dust, and furniture, leading to exposure risks to bystanders of all ages. And vaping around a pregnant person can lead to serious health impacts on fetal and childhood development. Enough with the puff. Learn more at ul.org/vaping.
Look, man, what's up, you guys? You are back listening to the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. This is the lunch break with maybe Shannon. Ray Nitty will be back, but right now you got me and Brother Z. All right, and we got a caller on the line. We've been talking about the garage, no playlist. We've been talking about the baby jumping in the zoo exhibit, and we've got Eastside Corey on the line. How you doing?
I need a little clarification. I'm a little confused. I don't pay attention to real mainstream stories, but this was a hot one with Brady Street. There used to be a bar called Why Not 2. They used to be really diverse and play a lot of jazz, rock and roll, and some very famous artists used to do sets there. I don't think it exists anymore. Then Hi-Hat has always seemed to have this identity problem as to when to play the dance music because it's a restaurant, right? So the kind of rap music that I'm thinking of that's for a big crowd like that would be the female, like Cardi B, fun, always a fun vibe, or Megan Thee Stallion or Missy Elliott, where everybody knows the lyrics and they get into it. It's fun. It's real positive. Is there a particular artist that people are having a problem with, or is it just are they letting the DJ be the lead, show the leadership? Because there's so many diverse hip hop artists out there. I'm into Japanese female artists right now who are doing this great dance hip hop stuff. Is fantastic. Their vibe is cool, but I'm confused about that. And then with the autistic boy, they got some of our autistic children got that autistic strength, and they also got that one thing they can do really well. This kid, they can focus in and figure out how to break into things. Well, you can channel that energy into something positive, no doubt. But if he's too big for grandma, it's time to get him a harness. Who went in and got him out of there with his situation? Did they show that part?
Yeah. So I guess they said grandma's security and more staff ended up jumping to 3 minutes. But if I'm not mistaken, in that video, you can actually hear the grandma like, "Oh, he's autistic and not moving with haste." So I think
That's not an
a lot of
excuse.
people were like,
No.
just exactly. And that's what people took away from that. They were like, Is she just saying this like as an excuse instead of getting in there and taking care of business?" Like you said, if he's too big for grandma, it's time to get a harness or make sure he's with the proper people that can handle him.
They used to have a petting zoo there. He needs to know that these are living creatures and be gentle. He needs somebody to teach him to be gentle with all animals, to be gentle and let them come to you.
Yep.
It's a teachable moment,
For
but
sure.
his concentrated energy, child. You better watch out with that strength. Artistic children
I
got.
believe it. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving us the call. It's always good to talk to our cousins. And he did ask a question. He asked if it was a specific artist. And yes, the reason people felt upset because it wasn't them saying don't play music with guns and violence and fighting lyrics. It was just specific artists. And that's where it comes in. Like, are you just trying to basically like block out our music? Specifically, they had Lil Wayne on the list. They had Future. They had, I don't have the list in front of me. Brother Z, do you have the list by any chance?
Yeah.
Handy?
Sexy Red, Kodak Black, 42 Doug, Chief Keef, King Von, NBA Youngboy, Lil Durk, G Herbo, ESTG, Future, Young Thug, 21 Savage, City Girls, Tyga, Glorilla, Lotto, Lil Baby, Gunna, Playboy Cardi, Migos, Offset, Quavo, 2 Chainz, Gucci Mane, Rick Ross, Lil Uzi, Lil Wayne, Moneybagg Yo, Key Glock, Young Dolph, and all in bold and caps, no Milwaukee music. Or no Milwaukee rap.
Yeah, so that's what really got people up in arms, right? Like, it wasn't specific songs. They didn't specifically say don't play this type. They just named these artists without actually like, I feel like without reason, honestly. And now that we've talked to somebody that's DJ there, that does DJ there, and we know that those songs or those artists specifically aren't causing the fights, it just makes you feel like there's a bigger issue downtown on Brady, on 3rd, that they just don't want us there. And there probably is pressures from outside powers that be, right? That are like, man, we got to figure something out. And then they just, like we said before, go after the low hanging fruit to act like they're doing something to stop what's going on. But a lot of the times when people are getting in trouble at these bars, on Water, on Brady, it's not really even the people inside. It's the people hanging outside. It's the kids with nothing to do. Right? So that's the conversation we were having. And like I said, before we went on break, we were just talking about, how that kid got into the enclosure at the zoo and how grandma couldn't really handle him. And I've got 2 stories involving animals. Speaking of animals, right? Nearly 30,000 pounds of beef have been recalled. And we're going to talk about that. Right? And America's wild horses are being rounded up from public lands, and some concerns about where they're ending up have been popping up. Right? So, approximately 29,628 pounds of raw beef imported from Argentina has been recalled. Why, you ask? Well, federal officials discovered that the beef entered the U.S. without undergoing the required USDA important reinspection. And when you hear beef recall, you automatically think like E. coli, salmonella, maybe some type of contamination. But that's not what the officials say happened here. The problem is that the meat entered the commerce without going through a required inspection checkpoint. And honestly, that bothers me too, y'all. because the inspections exist for a reason. The recalled products included cuts like top sirloin. I love me some top sirloin. Eye round, top side, flat, and knuckle. God, look, y'all eating beef knuckles anyways. The products have September 2026 use by or freeze by dates and were distributed in Florida and Texas. So if you got cousins out there, you might want to call them and say, check your beef. Okay? You better check it. The good news is that the latest reporting, there have been no confirmed illnesses connected to this recall. But how does 30,000 pounds of beef get through before somebody realizes that the required reinspection did not happen, y'all? That's not steak somebody forgot to scan. That's thousands and thousands of pounds of meat. And I want to explain this, why it matters, because I know a lot of people will say, well, nobody got sick, so it's all right. But it's a big deal. Nobody got sick yet. And the big deal is that inspections are part of the system by design to catch problems before the food reaches our families. When meat enters the U.S., inspectors are supposed to verify that the meat meets, you know, U.S. requirements. And that means, did it actually come from an approved facility? Does the paperwork match what's inside the shipment? Was it handled correctly? Was it stored correctly? Is the labeling accurate? Were the food safety requirements followed? And depending on the shipment, additional physical examination or testing may have to happen. And because almost 30,000 pounds of meat got distributed, how y'all gonna trace that? Through stores, distributor, restaurants, people's fridges and freezers. So even without those confirmed illnesses, missing an inspection means one of those safeguards in our food system did not happen. And that's scary, y'all. I don't know about y'all, but I'm worried, especially when we talk about them rounding up wild horses now. That's two separate stories that's happening at the same time. Almost 30,000 pounds of meat got past a checkpoint that is needed to make sure we eating safe food. Man. So now on to the wild horses. Because when we think about American wild Mustangs, we think about freedom and the West open land, right? They sold it to us like that, right? The beautiful like image of like a horse galloping through the wild, right? We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about why some people are upset that they're rounding them up now. We'll be back after these messages. Don't go anywhere. You are listening to the award-winning 101.7 The Truth.
Don't go anywhere.
We Energies is asking the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin for permission to raise electric and natural gas rates again in 2027 and 2028. For families already struggling with high energy bills, these increases are more than just numbers. They can mean choosing between keeping the lights on, groceries, rent, or filling a prescription. It's up to all of us to make sure everyday families are not left paying the bill for infrastructure that primarily benefits large corporate energy users, which includes an increasing demand for massive data centers. So please join us September 1st as we fight for our lights. The rally starts 11:30 a.m. at the corner of 301 West Michigan Street at Zeidler Union Square Park. For more information, please go to www.walnutway.org.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Reading aloud to children sharpens their listening skills, expands their vocabularies, and nurtures a lifelong love of reading. That's why Reading is Fundamental, the nation's leading children's literacy nonprofit, offers free monthly read-alouds by popular authors through its Rally to Read program. Visit rallytoread.org to watch the read-alouds and discover exciting reading activities for school and home. Visit rallytoread.org today.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age, everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Horses in my car got me going fast. I just wanna do the dash, put my pedal to the gas. Going so fast, hope I don't crash. One false move that could be my last. All these horses in my car got me going fast.
What's up? What's up? You are listening to The Lunch Break on 101.7 The Truth. And I got a little something on the menu for you. Looking to discover and support local businesses in our community? Then make sure you tune in every Friday at 8 a.m. to The Truth in the Morning with Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman for What the Business Is, powered by We Energies. Each week, you'll hear from local business owners as they share what their business is, where they are located, and one valuable lesson they've learned along the way. We Energies is proud to help power local businesses in the communities they serve. Don't miss What the Business Is every Friday at 8 a.m. only on The Truth in the Morning with Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman. Powered by We Energies, delivering the energy that powers local business. Man, that was good. It's been a good day, man. We had our dear friend Michael Jacobs on, Politically Homeless. He talked to us about the governor's race. He also got into what's going on with the list from the garage that's been going viral, that has reached many, many states, that everybody is talking about. We've got celebrities sharing that list. We've got people that I know from out of town asking if it's real, what's going on in Milwaukee. And then we got into our food recalls once again. They got 30,000 pounds of beef being recalled because it wasn't inspected when it got to the U.S. They just sent it out for us to nibble on. Then we started talking about them rounding up horses that they hyped up to just be the wild horses, the Mustangs that, we watched dilly-dallying in the wild. They rounded them up now. I guess we might be nibbling on their ankles. That's probably what they sent to us. Who knows? We don't talk about that, though. Let's kick it to the chat. We got Jasmine Jazz West, my jam. Hey, now, you're a rock star. Brother Z played that coming back from a break. We got Politically Homeless. Allegedly, the kid is super autistic. Yep, that was confirmed, I believe, by the father. DVJ73, I'm hoping the pets are safe where he lives. Do they have any? Jasmine Jazz West said, why not? Bar is open on Van Buren. We had a caller that asked if that bar is still open. Jasmine Jazz West said, even autistic kids are strong, so I know he's strong. They do be strong. I be arm wrestling my autistic nephew. That's my boy. One commenter said they probably think if rap music goes away, Black people will too. They basically don't want us around. And we talked about that. That's what we talked about. I'm just saying. They call it, look, Jasmine Jazz West said, how is that song too ghetto? That's my jam. Like I said, anything that's us, automatically ghetto. Babar said, welcome back. Hey, what are you doing in Nevada? You didn't even stop by the block to say hi. Politically Homeless also said, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure. But let's get back into these horsies. They just keep going. Is that what that's? You knew it. I'm screaming that you was ready for me to even say that. That's actually funny. Very telling of me. So, on to the wild horses. So, the Bureau of Land Management routinely rounds up wild horses from public lands. The agency says that the populations have to be managed because certain areas can't sustainably support all of the animals living there. And these roundups can involve hundreds and hundreds, sometimes thousands of these horses. But the controversy is what can happen after some of these animals leave federal custody. So they get rounded up by the feds when there's too many of them. They said certain horses can eventually be sold through a federal sales process. Once they are legally transferred out, the protections that they had federally as wild horses can disappear. So while they're here, they are protected, right? And many advocates are saying that's where the systems become vulnerable. Investigations have raised concerns that the horses leaving the federal program can eventually end up in the commercial slaughter pipeline. Now, let's be clear. There are currently no commercial horse slaughterhouses operating in the U.S. I think that's because they're federally protected. But what they will do is transport those American horses across the border for slaughter in places like Canada and Mexico. So essentially, we round them up here. We're going to sell them here. Then they lose their protections once we sell them. Like, oh, they're not here anymore. Well, not protected anymore. And what they end up doing is crossing the border and then come back slaughtered. So to me, that feels like they're doing backdoor dealings, man. So that's what I can't get past, dude. Like, so we spend generations turning the Mustang into this symbol of American Western history in these movies and these commercials, and then we protect them and then we sell them. That's what's been happening, y'all. There has to be a better way. I heard somewhere that they said they're being sold as low as $25. Slaughtered and sent back as food. That's probably what we chewing on. That's probably exactly what's came that 30,000.
I'm gonna say, wasn't the rumor that Taco Bell uses horse meat?
Okay. And they want to, we don't have a slaughterhouse here. Exactly. We don't got slaughterhouses here. Yeah, but y'all gonna sell them somewhere else, and then they lose their protections, and then they can come back as meals for us. And I just don't see how we're sitting here and not questioning. Like, there's so many recalls right now. Like what do we eat? What y'all eating? I want to know that in the chat. I ain't ate a salad in weeks. I like to blame the recalls for that. I ain't ate fruit or salads. I like to blame the recalls.
Really? Bruh.
That's my protections. But seriously, it's like the meat's being recalled. Everything we eat is being recalled. And honestly, it makes me real suspicious because not only are they surveilling us with the flock cameras, tampering with our food, doing all types of backdoor stuff.
Taking away our fruit seeds.
Fruit seeds are gone. The farmers can't even grow their own fruit. They got to buy the seeds from the government. It's getting crazy out here. Have we become too comfortable assuming safeguards are working simply because the rules exist? Because I would never thought that they'd be rounding these horses up, selling them to slaughter. Just because it's not being done in America don't mean it ain't being done. And as we see, it's being done. And it's so disheartening to hear that. And I don't mean to sound like one of them people protect animals, but goodness. And also, what is we eating? They might be, like you said, Taco Bell meat might be horse ankles.
Bruh.
Could be. But listen. Look, y'all better get used to eating some. I feel like a lot of stuff we eat is questionable. That's a reason why. And all these countries, like most of our stuff is banned. And I think we're just now starting to really like get hip to like our food is not that safe, and we really have to start growing our own stuff, sourcing our own things. We really have to, as Americans, get used to fending for ourselves. It's really starting to feel that way. But we are coming to an end, y'all. Another episode of The Lunch Break with just me, maybe Shannon, and Brother Z holding it down on the production and sound. It's been a good one. Special thank you to Politically Homeless again. Shout out to the garage for giving us so much content. Man. And to parents with special need children, please keep them babies safe, because that incident could have ended up so much worse. Thankfully, they got him and he's safe. And please, y'all, watch what y'all eating. I don't got no answers, questions, or comments about that. Just good luck. You are listening to The Lunch Break with maybe Shannon. Ray Nitty will be back next week. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, 12 to 2. Make sure you guys follow us on Facebook, The Lunch Break on Facebook, and head over to YouTube. We're here all day. The Truth Nation is here all day, man. Don't go anywhere. We got The Grapevine up next. Homer Blow is on The Grapevine. That should always be a good time, man. Don't go anywhere. Thank you for rocking with us.